Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the best new subclass mods in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager, focusing on 5 different subclasses for the base game classes. And we'll first be starting off here with the Astral Domain Cleric mod by SUBCLASS. The Astral Domain would be perfect if you're playing as a Gith, as that's kind of the theming around this. Now you get the Guidance cantrip here, as well as Guiding Bolt and Longstrider, and the subclass feature Planar Reach. Create and reach through the brief hole of fabric of reality, allowing a melee spell to be cast at a range of 9 meters. And you can do this as many times as you have your wisdom modifier. What's also nice about this mod is they have a great layout of their mod in the page here, so you can check this out on Nexus Mods or in Mod.io. And the subclass features, you get different domain spells. So first level, Guidance, Guiding Bolt, and Longstrider. Level 3, we get Blur and Invisibility. Level 5, we get Blink and Slow. 7, Banishment and Dimension Door. And 9th, Planar Binding and Telekinesis. Our level 2 Channel Divinity is the Create Void, which does a 2d10 of force damage and create a brief tear in the planar fabric, which leads to the astral plane, manifesting a powerful vacuum that possibly forces each creature to be pulled towards the tear as a bonus action and using your Channel Divinity charge. And upon hitting level 6 here, you get the Spatial Exchange. Distort the fabric of reality to either teleport to an unoccupied space you can see or to swap places with an ally. This also uses your Channel Divinity and a full action, so just a heads up on that. Level 8, it has the Potent Spellcasting, adding your Wisdom modifier to Cleric cantrips. Now, it doesn't have a level 14 or 15 as special ability like some of the other class mods they have, so just a heads up on that, but it does have full spell scaling, so you can get things like level 8 spell at level 15. The big standout here is the Create Void. So this does use the similar to the Black Hole VFX, but they look really nice. So that's the reason they use it. And I agree. The Black Hole ability, it looks cool. So it fits thematically there, dealing force damage, pulling all targets in. If they make a save, they still take half damage, but are not pulled. And for a bonus action, that's pretty strong. A 2d10 plus your wisdom, or plus half your cleric level there. And then we also have the Spatial Exchange there, which will let you swap places with an ally if you wanted to, or just teleport. So it's kind of like a Misty Step version of that using your Channel Divinity. This is a pretty cool subclass and fun if you're looking for something a little bit different as a cleric or if you're playing as a Gith. And next up is the Way of the Forge Monk subclass mod made by the Wailing Bard, a muscly monk subclass. This has a bunch of cool abilities and it's an interesting homebrewed class made by so many robots. Way of the Forge. What this does, so at level 3 here, you get the Fireforged Spirit, so your proficiency in flails, morning stars, and warhammers, and you can use these as your monk weapons, and you can also use your strength modifier instead of dexterity for unarmored defense. That is pretty nice because it will boost your armor class up quite considerably. You also get the Unbearable Heat, and once per turn when you deal bludgeoning damage, you can spend a key point to do an additional 3 to 8 fire damage, and this equals one of your martial arts dice plus your wisdom modifier. You also get the Forge Magic, so you can gain a small selection of Forge Magic spells that can be cast once for free per long rest. After that, they cost the 1 plus the spell's level in key points. And alternatively, if you have a spell slot from another source, you can use these to cast your Forge Magics. So we get the Forge Magic Keen Weapon here, Concentration. Point at a metal weapon and magically enhance its sharpness or hardness. The weapon receives a 1d6 bonus to its damage rolls for 10 turns. You can cast Forge Magic spells once for free, as mentioned previously. So it's pretty interesting. You're kind of like a blacksmith monk hybrid, and I love the thematics of this. And at level 5, we get obviously our extra attack, Stunning Strikes, but also the Forge Magic Heat Metal. So this basically is a heat metal spell, but you can use your key points and get a free casting of this as well. At level 6, we get the Hammer Blow. Your blows carry the full might of your forged hammer. When you use your Unbearable Heat, you force the target to make a strength save to avoid falling prone. Additionally, if you use your Unbearing Heat against an already prone creature, the bonus damage is increased by another roll of your martial arts die. So yeah, you get the big bonk hammer. This is great. I think it's cool. A Warhammer focused build is not very common, and I'm all for it because I think that's cool for thematic purposes. At level 9, you get the Forge Magic Aura of Iron, so you create a 9-meter radius around you. Each creature, including yourself, takes half damage from the next non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. And next time it deals one of those either piercing or slashing damages, it does an additional d6 on the damage roll. And once the creatures use this, it cannot do that until the start of its next turn. And upon hitting level 11, you get the Furnace's Fires, which it does a 48 of fire damage, summons the Forge Flame into yourself, and radiate its powerful heat outwards. For the next 10 turns, any creature that starts its turn within 2 meters of you takes a 1d4 of fire damage. So you get a nice fiery aura around yourself. And it costs 4 key points normally, but you get that free casting of it, even though it's not technically listed as one of the Forge Magics. And at level 17, we get a Forge Wrought Soul ability for the subclass. Your mind and spirit are as pure as any metal ever forged. You add your wisdom modifier to any strength or constitution saving throw, which is nice. In addition, when you use your action to make a weapon attack or unarmed strike, you can spend 1 key point to replace your second action with a forged magic spell, or use the furnace's fire. So it's really nice. You can replace your attacks with spells, and I think that's a pretty useful ability. So you can see here we got our forged magic keen weapon here. We can apply this to ourselves, buffing up our warhammer there, and yeah, you get the keen weapon charge now on that, which gives it that additional damage on its attacks. So pretty useful. And then we also have the Aura of Iron, which you can apply, which has a huge radius. So you can see there it applies Aura of Iron to a lot and has that cool VFX on it. And even your items here can get the Aura of Iron. So yeah, pretty strong VFX and looks cool whenever it dissipates. We also have the Furnace's Fire here, which hits in a pretty large area of effect. Big burning attack there. And then you have an aura around yourself doing a 1d4 of fire damage for those 10 turns. So just be mindful if you accidentally use this in an area. Because yeah, it can end up burning people, so you got to be a bit careful with that for 10 turns after casting it. Then we also have the heat metal spell, so if a target has metal on them, it gives you a damage there. You get your good old-fashioned flurry of blows as well, in addition to the fire that you got around your body. So you can make a big hammer bonk attack, follow up with the unarmed strikes, and then if you need to, use the furnace's fires. And yeah, this is a pretty fun monk subclass. No, it's not as overpowered as the open hand monk. Not a lot of builds are, and that's what I think is great about it. So it gives you an experience as a monk and very thematic at that. Highly recommend checking out this mod. And next up, we got a couple wizard subclasses with the Order of the Scribes and War Magic subclasses made by Incognito Burrito. This has some really cool features. So the Book of Wizards adds 2 new subclasses to the game. This was released this week, and I think that they're both extremely interesting. Their level 6 features are both compelling to me. So with the Order of the Scribes, at level 2, you get subclass features, basically being able to learn any type of spell for half the cost. And this is somewhat similar to the D&D one. You also get the formulaic attunement here, so your awakened spellbook, manipulating formulae to make your spells stronger. And you also get the Scrivener's Rituals here, collection of ritual spells gained through your awakened spellbook. Basically what this does, you pick a damage type, you deal extra damage equal to your intelligence modifier, and ignore resistances to those damage types. So fire, make it much stronger. The War Magic also gets the Arcane Deflection here, so you've learned to weave magic and fortify yourself. Whenever you're hit with an attack or fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to gain a +2 to armor class or a +4 to saving throws. You also get the Tactical Wit, being able to assess tactical situations, getting a bonus to your initiative equal to your intelligence modifier, and the Activate War Magic Wizard Homebrew. Incognito Burritos brewed up some additional features of the War Magic Wizard subclass. All ensemble will give you the more dynamic experience. So something that I really do like about this is the level 6 feature. So for the War Magic, you get the Power Surge. You gain additional Power Surge. You can use maximum amount up to your Intelligence modifier, and you gain these by successfully casting Counterspell or Remove Curse if you end a short rest. Basically, when you cast a spell, you can expend 1 Power Surge to deal additional force damage equal to half your Wizard level. Pretty cool, because you're absorbing spells to power up your own. And I think the Order of the Scribes is the coolest level 6 ability, so I'll showcase what that looks like, because I think it is very interesting. You also get the Detect Thoughts spell at level 3 of the Order of the Scribes. You get the Manifest Mind, which conjures forth the mind of your awakened spellbook to cast spells for you. This is really cool. So in action, Manifest Mind, you can pop this down, you pull your book, it looks really cool, and then you got yourself a little flappy book there. The Spectral Mind is going to be this little summon here, and what you're going to do is you get this on your bar here, so you can expend a spell slot to recall it, but you also have the Gaze of the Spectral Mind. So then, let's say you're like running over here, blah blah blah, Gaze the Spectral Mind, boom, now you're the book. And then you can spell cast as the book. So yeah, pretty cool. You can expend your ability there to be able to get some extra spells from a different range. That's a really cool ability, because yeah, sometimes there's moments where you may want to do something a little bit different in the game, and you can pull this out and go blam and attack someone with Scorching Ray straight from the book. So yeah, it also procs all your other items, like a Fire Infusement if you have the ring there, so that's why my hammer is glowing with the fire. So yeah, I think that's a really cool ability, and one of the most interesting that I've seen from a class mod before, so shout out to Incognito Burrito for that. Those are level 10 features for the War Magic. You get a +2 to armor class and all saving throws when you're concentrating. And for the Order of the Scribes, you get the Master Scrivener. Once per long rest, you can cast any first or second level spell without expending any spell slot. 3 mage armor, that's not too bad. Level 14, you get the Defecting Shroud with the War Magic, which use your Arcane Deflection feature. All enemies within 9 meters take a force damage equal to half your wizard level. And one with the Word. You gain advantage on all Arcana checks, and once per long rest when you're about to damage while your Spectral Mind is summoned, you can dispel your Spectral Mind to completely prevent the damage. So yeah, who would have known that little book is really good at protecting you as well. So yeah, all in all, the Book of Wizards, extremely well done by Incognito Burrito and worth checking out. And next up, we got the Unbroken Circle, which is an interesting Druid subclass mod made by Havsglimt here. So there's the Green Knight fighter. I've done a build guide previously on that, which is a Druid style fighter, kind of like the Eldritch Knight, but Druidic. This is a Druid like a fighter. So yeah, it's a melee focused Druid class. So this comes with a special Unbroken Shillelagh, or Shillelagh, depending on your pronunciation. Allows you to do a 4 to 11 bludgeoning damage and use your spellcasting ability for attack rolls for 10 turns. This is a more powered up version of it, which will level up with you. You also get the Wild Recovery, which is kind of like a second wind, but it uses your wild shape charges instead. Kind of a cool way to do it. So there is a few different unique abilities here, which I'll be breaking down. Like at level 6, you get the Shillelagh Mastery. When you're wielding a weapon under Unbroken Shillelagh, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn using that weapon. This is not stacked with the extra attack gained from other classes. So yeah, Shillelagh Mastery, basically extra attack at level 6 when you're using that spell. Once we hit level 10, you unlock the War Druid ability, so when you use your action and cast a cantrip, you can make a 1-weapon attack as a bonus action. Kind of a nice compromise there if you want to be able to cast a cantrip and also make your attacks. And upon hitting level 14, you get Nature Armor. Your connection to nature helps shield you from harm. At the start of each of your turns, you gain a number of temporary health points equal to half your Druid level. So it's a plus 10 if you go with the level 20 mod. And one thing I love about Havsglimt's mod is they actually have full support for going all the way up to level 20. So still, one of my favorite weapons to use Shillelagh on is one that adds additional damage die, like the Staff of Cherished Necromancy, or any of your other staffs that have that extra damage die. When you apply the Unbroken Shillelagh there, boom, you got the Shillelagh Mastery. So this will apply for 10 turns, giving you the extra attack passive, and you get 10 temporary health at the start of each turn. So this then becomes magical, and you can attack with it. And we also got our Nature's Recovery there. So it looks like you're using a Wild Shape Charge, which is kind of nice. And yeah, for some reason I have a lot of those there. So yeah, you can expend Wild Shape Charges to be able to, I think it's once you hit level 20, you get an infinite amount of them. But basically with this, you get a nice little heal, 1d10 plus 3 every time you use that. It does use a bonus action Wild Shape Charge, so it's something to keep in mind. But yeah, this is a cool Druid that's focused on using Shillelagh attack with. I think that's pretty interesting. So this is again made by Havsglimt, and it's from the Griffin Saddlebag. So this is a homebrewed class. And next up, you may have noticed when I was going over the Astral domain that I have much more added underneath the Cleric subclasses. There's quite a few. We had the Arcana domain, the Forge domain, the Grave domain, Order domain, Peace domain, and Twilight domain. Thanks to Sumer Dagnoth, who's put out another incredible 5e subclass combined mod. This time, 5e Cleric subclass combined. With again, you got the Astral, which is focused on spellcasting with some wizard spells. The Forge domain, again, similar to the Forge Monk that we covered previously with some extra fire damage abilities and Searing Smites. Grave domain, which will be the one that I focus on in this video. Then we also have the Order domain, which is all about control and being able to shut down enemies in combat. We have the Peace domain, which has the warding kind of bonds, the emboldening bonds here to protect your allies. And the Twilight, which I've covered in a few different videos. This one is a great adaptation of it too. You get things like the Eyes of the Night to be able to see in darkness. Twilight Sanctuary, which can heal yourself and give temporary health and prevent your teams from getting charmed and frightened. But with the Grave domain, I think this is one of the most interesting because you can take out enemies and heal your team by that. So you get the Eyes of the Grave here, detect the presence of nearby undeads and remove them from hiding. You get the Bane and False Life cantrips or spells as part of your Grave domain spells. And we get the subclass feature Circle of Mortality. When you roll one or more damage die to restore health to a spell, with a spell to a creature with 0 health points, you instead use the highest amount. So if one of your teammates goes down, pop a heal on them. It's going to maximize the amount of healing that they receive. And once you make it to level 2, you get the Path to the Grave. Curse a creature that you can see, and the next time you or an ally hits the cursed creature with an attack, it has vulnerability to all of that attack's damage. Yeah, that's pretty strong. You can only imagine. And at level 3, we get the Rave Enfeeblement and Wither and Bloom using the Mistress Spells mod to add 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons spells to the game. And once we hit level 5, we get Revivify and Vampiric Touch. Level 6 subclass feature is the Sentinel at Death's Doors. When you or an ally you can see within 9 meters suffers a critical hit, you can use your reaction to uncritical that hit, make it a normal attack. So that will potentially protect you from getting hit, which is nice. And then we also get ourselves the Blight and Death Ward spells here at level 7. Level 8 gives us the potent spellcasting added wisdom modifier to our cleric cantrips. Level 9 gives us Enervation and as well greater restoration for cantrips spell. And once we hit level 17, this is a cool ability, Keeper of Souls. When the enemy you can see within 9 meters, you can either make it so that you heal a amount of health points equal to the enemy's level +2, or an ally. So basically, you take the soul of an enemy and restore your or teammate's health. Very cool. And I think that that's a really fun ability. Yeah, I highly recommend checking out this mod here because it's got a lot of really cool abilities, like the Path to the Grave there, making it so that you can make a target become vulnerable to a damage type, and then you go ahead and bonk them and you get extra damage off on that. So yeah, you can make some, obviously a club like that isn't super strong, but it powers up some of your abilities to make them even more powerful. This is a fun subclass, and I highly recommend checking out the 5e Cleric subclass combined mod by Super Dagnoth for more. And I hope you enjoyed this video. We had a lot of really great subclass mods added lately, so we'll probably be doing another video somewhat similar to this in the future, because there's always a lot of new class and subclass mods added to the game. And I typically break these videos down into new classes versus new subclasses, and this one had a lot of really great new subclasses. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.